Self-sabotage is a big theme, especially for beginners. But I want you to understand one thing. If you've made it this far in life, you are not a beginner. You are not a beginner. You are seasoned at life, at something. You have experience. Have lived experience. You have opinion. You have taste. You have built skill and you have gained talent. It is just the way it is. And I think a lot of our self-sabotage comes from imposter syndrome. We feel like that is for someone else to win. I couldn't possibly do that. I don't know how to do that. How many times have we said the words, I am not dot, dot, dot. Like, I am not a techie. I'm not tech savvy. I don't understand AI. I don't get YouTube. I'm not good at dot, dot, dot. Anytime you catch me say that, you also catch me, and this is on video, hundreds and hundreds of times, I'm sure. You also catch me saying, yet. Yet. So say the word yet in the chat. Say it to yourself if you're watching the replay. You're not that yet. That does not mean you can never be that. If you choose to be that, if it interests you, you certainly could. I do not have an interest in being a doctor. So when I say I'm not a doctor, I'm not a doctor. But if I wanted to be a doctor, I could become a doctor. It would take me decades to figure it out, but I could. So I need everybody to have that foundationally too. I'm not going to spend too much time on mindset because I want to give you something practical that you can take from this. But if we don't start there, none of what I tell you tactically will help you. If you are counting yourself out of this equation already, when the whole world is something we have to face, that's going to be hard to carry you on my back and pull you kicking and screaming into your success. I want you to win. You need to want you to win. And you need to know that you can. Are we on the same page? I'm not going to change someone's entire psyche in a few words and minutes. So if you have very deep rooted issues when it comes to how you perceive yourself, I am not discounting that. But I am telling you that in your first 5K, and that's the foundations is mostly made up of that group. In order for you to have success in this group, you have to believe that you can have success. There's very little that happens here by accident. Even if you think it's by accident, it's not by accident. So I want that for you. That's why I have this membership. That's why I made it free 16 days ago. That's why 6,100 people have joined since then. And that does not even count the spam. That's more people, but we got it down. You know, we're doing our best every day, whack-a-mole. So please, if I give you a little bit more confidence today, that it will be worth it because that will compound over time. That will add up over time. Another thing I hear a lot is, I don't understand this. This is too over my head. Now, that is okay. Because if you're willing, that's why I have this foundations and I will continue to do things like this. Because if you are willing to learn, not just, again, tactics, because I could teach you that all day, but learn how to learn what to look for, learn what is necessary to win in this game, then soon you will it will not be over your head. Who here is willing to learn to learn? Who here is willing to take away some of these self-doubt, preconceived notions of themselves? And there's a lot going on in the chat if you're watching on the replay. These self-sabotaging, preconceived notions that just have not worked for us up until this point, which is why we are over here trying to make our first 5K. Now, a lot of people have made 5K. When I say your first 5K, I mean online, working for yourself. Does everybody understand that foundationally? Because a lot of people, I mean, most people here have had a job, have a job. Tell me if you have a job, you work for somebody else right now. That's all good. I did that for 35, well, not 35 years. I wasn't working for somebody else as a baby, but you know, I was a spunky 6-year-old. I'll tell you that too. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with working for somebody else. Um, I used to say I was doing like I did like 100 podcast interviews in 2020 for my first book, and I often said in that podcast tour, let your day job be your first investor, because everybody was coming to me for investment. Now I'm like, we're going to invest in ourselves. Let your day job or your night job be your first investor. Don't look at it like, oh man, this is a drag. Look at it for a couple of different ways. Look at it like, I'm inspired to get myself out of this position so I can work for myself. Or you might say, I like this job. This job gives me stability. It gives me insurance. It gives me a place to go, a reason, and I enjoy it. So I'm not necessarily looking to get out of it. I may just be looking to have the option to leave whenever I want. What would it do for those of you who do have a day job or an evening job? What would it do? What would it change if you could walk into that job knowing every single day, oh, I don't need this. I don't need this. Oh, I'll say this without trying to say what the name of the company is, but I have two older cousins, uh, and they're both um, physically have physical ailments, and they both worked at the same store that everybody knows, and they were on their feet during COVID, like 10 hours a day doing this work, and they were, probably making a good $20 an hour or something like that. But they were on their feet, and I just couldn't, with COVID being what it was and with their health being what it was, I just couldn't stand the idea of that. So I called them one day and I said, what if you worked for me? What if I paid you what you get paid there and you did stuff from home for me to help me out? And they had been there for a few years. Uh, Both of them at the same time said, yes, ma'am. Let me, there was no hesitation. Okay. And for 2 years, they worked with me. They walked into that job the next day. They went around, it was like a meme. They went around, they like, I'm done. Bye, bye, bitch. It was a freedom that they could not, you couldn't write it. And they had friends. And you know what they did? They had lunch with those friends once a week. But they left. And we went around, we traveled, we worked, we got some business done, and we made some money. And after 2 years, it was over, and they have not gone back to it. They do things from home now. So my point of that is, even if you had Even if you stay at your company, but you have the option that somebody goes off on you or looks at you wrong, you're like, "Oh, baby, I don't need this. I don't need it. Bye." Even if you have the option, that's what I wish for you. That's what I hope for you. That's what I want for you. And it's not all about me. I know that, but that's if you want an insight as to why I do what I do, that is why. Because I want all of you to have that option. Yeah. And I believe that with a few things that you learn here this year, you will have that option. So when you think of it that way, isn't it worth, oh, yeah, I don't know what that word means, but I'm going to find out. You see what I'm saying? Isn't it worth, oh, this is a little uncomfortable to post over here, but I'm going to figure it out. Is it more uncomfortable to post a video that I suggest you post on Instagram or YouTube than it is to walk into a job you hate every single day, making less money than you could otherwise? That is the energy that I suggest for you going into your first 5K.